lot of folks over, A lot of folks have said they were leaving over the course of these last couple of years if Trump got elected. And once again, people assume that that's what I did, incorrectly lumped them in. So this is going to be the second time I'm clearing this up. So here's a clip of me reading the transcript of exactly what I said the first time. Take a look. The point I made was I said you start pointing and saying this person's a rapist and a murderer. It pisses me off. And because I've been part of when they just use blanket statements about black people, or when they use blanket statements to talk about white people or women or any other group, I don't think that's America. I don't want it to be America. Maybe it's time for me to move. Now see, if you want to be mad at me, you want to make jokes, get your facts straight. Just to be clear, I wouldn't leave this country for him to piss all over for any reason. I've been here since the late 1700s.
But you look so good.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disillusion you, but, I'm not leaving the country that I was born and raised in. My family spent years trying to get the vote and trying to do all the things that we as Americans are allowed to do. We're allowed to protest. We're allowed to stand up and say we disagree. Whether we agree or not, it's okay. But you don't get to tell me that I'm going. You don't get to make that decision for me. I'm staying. Like they said in Dreamgirls. I'm staying.
But there have been so many celebrities that have said that they're going to move to Canada.
Well, let them go. Don't put that crap on me. I'll tell you when I'm going to go.
And you didn't say that, and you cleared it up. I've been here when you haven't said that.
Supposed to be going also.
You didn't say it either, but you know what I will say?
They'll have to pry this microphone out of my cold, dead hand.
What is interesting to me is if you look at what happened, Trump won the key battleground states of Florida, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Move to one of those states instead of moving to Canada. And move to a state and vote. I mean, that's the bottom line. Make some change. I'm very surprised that so many people have missed that point.
Well, she's referring to the Electoral College, I believe, with that, right? Because more people are moving into the cities.
Yes.
So that doesn't make a difference, really, because New York has the same number of electoral votes as, Idaho does, let's say. And so no matter how many people move into New York, we don't get any more.
Well, this isn't Florida. I've seen a lot of people online posting things about, like, oh, celebrity said this. Not you guys, but celebrity said this, and you guys should go ahead and move. This isn't the time to keep dividing. The election's over. Now, even if you were on the winning side, now's the time to say, okay, my team won. Let's come together. Yeah. That's the only way you can make change.
And also, you have to listen to why people feel the way that you have to listen to women and why they're uncomfortable and what the fear is, because you weren't thinking about that. See, when people voted, they weren't looking at the step system that this has now created, because depending on who comes in and what the Republicans say they want to do, it's like, well, you're now poised to take away my right to decide what I do with my body. I'm not that comfortable with it, so women are scared of that.
Also, when Obama won, the first thing we heard from Mitch McConnell, who was the Speaker of the House, no, he was the Senate leader, Senate Majority Leader, correct? He said, it's my job now to make him a one-term president. How come he wasn't held to that, to unite the country?
And we're all the same way about that.
He wasn't, though. He wasn't. He just kept obstructing and obstructing.
This is the thing, when we were talking about, when the Republican Party came out and said recently, when Scalia passed, that they were not even going to look at any recommendations for President Obama. I came out and said, that's not fair. We elect you to these positions. This is the system we live in. Now, I'm taking that advice because the election didn't go the way I had wanted, but I recognize that I have to look at what happens now. Digging my heels in only perpetuates problems. By saying, let me see what comes up, and one by one, I'll look at each one, and I'll defend what I stand for, and I'll try to make concessions where I can.
I excuse a lot of the I understand when people get frustrated in an election and they say, oh, if this person wins, I'm going to move to Canada. Or I excuse that as humanity sometimes. You're frustrated. You're voting for one person. You're tired of the other. You can't imagine living under what they're doing. So you say things like that. Sometimes it changes, though, if that person wins and you come to a realization that, hey, you know what? I didn't want this. I don't believe in this. This isn't what I stand for, but now this is my president. And you grow, too. You grow into saying, you know what? Let me give that person the benefit of the doubt. So I feel like people don't let people be human. Sometimes that's the emotion you feel. And that moment you feel like, you know what? I can't imagine this country under that leader. And you're allowed to express that in that moment.
But
And if you evolve, that's okay, too.
Isn't it kind of like marriage, and that's what divorce is for? You know, it's like, I can get out of this if I want to. And it's nice to have an exit.
In this, you can't get it. You have to go through all the stuff that you're supposed to go through in the divorce. You got to show all the cause, all that stuff.
But I'm talking about these celebrities and how they feel about this whole thing.
But
like,
you know,
maybe I have a way out.
There's a whole idea that celebrities somehow are these kind of dumb people who don't know anything. You know, unfortunately, for most people, they don't realize celebrities are just other people. Yeah, they're just people who have the same attitudes, and you know, and sometimes they make a lot of money, you know, and sometimes they do feel like that, you know. But the bottom line is, you got to pay attention, because some of the things people are saying that they're uncomfortable with are things that have been clearly defined as going to happen, going to get done under my administration, and they are dangerous for women. They could be dangerous depending on who gets in for people of color. There are a lot of things people have to look at, and I don't think people really realize this until now it's done. And now we're saying, okay, here's what I've heard, you know, and here's what I'm freaked out about.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll talk about what Donald Trump has said he's going to do in the first 100 days.
Yeah.
See how you feel after that. We'll be right back.
Coming up, Hillary's emotional plea to young women and the shocking breakdown of how women voted on Election Day.
Well, welcome back. You know, so we just got this piece on a tweet that came out that Omarosa supposedly put out when she was asked by the Independent Journal Review about Senator Lindsey Graham, who tweeted that he voted for another candidate. Says, if Graham felt his interest was with that candidate, God bless him. I would never judge anybody for exercising their right to the freedom to choose who they want. But let me just tell you, Mr. Trump has a long memory, and we're keeping a list.
Oh, come on.
Now, it seems, you know, if you're talking about you're the president for everybody, shouldn't you maybe have a conversation with the people who perhaps are around you and say, you know, we don't want to put this kind of thing out there because this is very, you know, McCarthy-esque.
Yeah, McCarthy-esque.
You know, for those who
Look it
Well,
up.
what has to go right away is when he started blocking press from his events, that was a scary precedent to set, because the press represents, agree with them or not, a checks and balances to the system and make sure that information gets out there. So that one thing that does have to change is they cannot be using language that is ominous
But you know,
about
this
people.
is his MO. This is his MO. I mean, I did a piece for Nightline where I went to Atlantic City and I interviewed dozens of people about Donald Trump's businesses and how he conducted his business. And he does keep that list. And if you go against him, he goes after you and he takes you out.
That's
I interviewed
scary.
people where they lost their businesses, lost their reputation if they came out against him. And I hope that that is not the kind of president that he will be. My mother often told me, people show you who they are, you believe them. I believe that he, you know, that he may be racist, he may be bigoted, he may be, you know, a misogynist, and I hope I'm wrong. But he has
Why
shown
should you
me
be
that
wrong? The man is 70
is.
years old. What makes you think he's going to change all of a sudden?
I hope that.
What is he going to have?
Some of his supporters said it, you know, he's pandering to a group. He'll be different. That's not him. I also hope I'm wrong.
I hope I'm wrong.
I remember when he went after Rosie O'Donnell. He was vicious to her. Vicious. Okay?
Yeah.
That is who he is. Don't be
But if
mistaken.
he's going to turn over a new leaf now and say, well, now that I'm in, I mean, if he is, look, anybody can do it. If he's putting out this message of unity, then he needs to, I think, Whoopi, you're right. He needs to sit everybody down who works for him and say, this is my message. My message is one of unity. Because if one person strays, that marginalizes Lindsey Graham supporters. And as we know, that Republican Party is in shambles right now.
I don't think they're in shambles.
They are. No,
the man never disavowed the Ku Klux Klan. What do you expect him to do without
he disavowed their support.
Yeah. The bottom line is, if you look at a President Obama who you know, Hillary Clinton and President Obama went head-to-head and toe-to-toe. He made her his Secretary of State. Lincoln did the same thing. He had his council of people that disagreed with him. I hope that, unlike what we're hearing in the press, that we're going to see Giuliani as Attorney General, Chris Christie, or Ben Carson.
Security,
I really hope that he is going to consider having people that oppose him, having people like a Bernie Sanders, having people like a Hillary Clinton, having a checks and balances on his team, like President Lincoln.
I would love that, but I don't know that that's going to happen. Because he's already talking about Newt Gingrich being his Secretary of State. I mean, talk about an old face. We've seen this man for years.
All I'm saying is give him a second, though, because if he's smart and he wants to lead the country as a whole, then there are people in this country who voted for Hillary Clinton and voted for Bernie Sanders, and anyone with common sense knows they deserve a voice at the table, too. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt today to recognize that those people deserve a voice. Now, if he doesn't fulfill that, I'll be the first one to say, to hold him accountable for that. And within the party, look, Lindsey Graham, I don't agree with Lindsey Graham on everything. Lindsey Graham does represent an establishment view, but he too has an opinion, and he has done a lot of public service, and he deserves a voice at the table. So anyone who's going to lead this country knows everybody deserves a voice. Everybody in the position.
Lindsey Graham better do it. He is one of the few.
He doesn't be a failed president, because no one can lead effectively unless they give a little and they know that those people have a voice too. And
Lindsey
they represent
Graham,
people.
listen, Jedediah, Lindsey Graham is one of the few who stuck by what he said in the first place, unlike Paul Ryan and all the rest of these hypocrites. Lindsey Graham, I salute you for that. He said he didn't like him. He wasn't going to vote for him. The minute before he said he was grabbing some woman's private parts. Before that, right after he said that Mexicans were rapists, Lindsey Graham stuck by what he said.
Now he's on a list.
And now he's on a list.
You know what? If
guess who else will be on the list?
That's not him saying it. Just remember, that's not him saying it, though, and I don't know what kind of communication.
It's one of the surrogates.
I don't know how she's communicating with him, how organized they are, but he better get it together, because you're right. If somebody reads that and sees that that's a surrogate, that is now representative of him.
Well, remember, he supposedly hired her to do the outreach.
The black outreach.
Well, that's not going to work, then.
And so that's why people will associate her with him speaking for him. So, you know, listen, there's a lot. Listen, he's going to learn. This is, I guess, the best thing about all of this. He's going to learn really quickly how this actually works, that no president governs on his or her own, ever. Ever, ever, ever. And so we're going to fight the stuff that we know is wrong, the stuff that says that you have the right to tell me what to do with my body, and you're not going to pay me. You're not going to increase my money to take care of my family. I'm not talking about me specifically. When I say me, I mean a lot of folks. You know, you're not going to pay me to help do what I need to do with my family, so get out of my body. It's not your decision. You don't know me. We'll be right back. Wrote into the Washington Post because she panics when she sees moms pushing strollers while they're distracted by their cell phones. Now, how is it possible that mothers are not paying attention when they're pushing their baby with the stroller?
Well, they drive doing it also, and you know,
Well, it's possible, because I was telling Sonny a story. I wasn't distracted by my phone. It's really bad, though. A new mom is not familiar with a stroller. Let's just say that. So I was standing on the sidewalk at the daycare where we were meeting the woman that was telling us how great the place was. And I go to shake her hand, and my baby starts to roll away. And she goes, oh, my God. And, like, she goes running. I was like, oh, it's... And I thought, that woman's thinking, you definitely need us, because... so it is easier than you realize. Use the brakes.
But that's That's different. I think she's talking about,
That's worse,
you know.
Whoopi. I had nothing else going on.
No, because I think, you know, you see them, and women are sometimes push their babies out, and half of them is here in the street.
That's scary, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they don't realize that half of the baby is in the street because they're on their phone.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's talking about.
If you're going to stay on your phone, stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I have intervened. I mean, I saw a nanny not being attentive, being on the phone with a child in a stroller reaching out to her and trying to engage. And I did say
What'd she
something,
say?
and I said, I think you should pay attention to him.
And what happened then?
She gave me a really dirty, nasty look.
Yeah.
So
But I
how
said,
did you know it was a nanny?
I think you should. It was obvious that they weren't related.
I only asked that because
we
people
don't
used to
want-
think my daughter was, I was the nanny.
Stay with my
so
mother.
that's why I wondered
No,
if
it was obvious they weren't related.
the child
but-
was speaking Russian and the mother
Yeah,
was not.
it was obvious, but I said, I think you should pay attention to him. And she gave me a real nasty New York look.
On that topic,
You feel obligated sometimes to,
To say something.
But it's hard to say something. What's the right way to do it, do you think?
Like that? I like that.
like that, yeah. But can I
a
just...
little finger point.
It was.
Wagging.
While we're talking babies, can I also, because I'm a baby to
Oh, God,
a
don't
dog.
tell me you're
I
pregnant.
gotta do it.
I know.
I am not pregnant, everyone. Mom at home that just
We
like her
want a
heart
baby.
just... No, it's one day. But I have to talk about my dog baby for a second. Just for those parents of dogs, sometimes I see women,
You're not
men...
a parent of a dog.
I'm a parent.
You didn't have the dog.
You are a parent.
I am
of
a
dog.
parent.
The dog. You acquired the dog.
My mom-
Adoptive
but
parents
you
are
could-
parents too.
Not if that baby, if that dog didn't come out of your body, you're not the mother. But go ahead.
My mom
You don't
goes
know that
around-
it didn't.
She did not have a lone bitch. We would have known. Go ahead. What were you trying to say? Go ahead, baby.
I'm just trying. My mom, by the way, goes around and holds up pictures and says, "This is my grandbaby," and it's a picture of the dog. But no, when you have the dog on a leash and your dog is extended
yep.
halfway into Fifth Avenue in Manhattan,
scares me, too.
and it's this big, be careful of the dog. There's
Yes.
people
I
too.
speak up
Yes.
on that one.
And on that note, yeah, you speak on that.
Well, because they're like
We'll
by
be right back.
themselves.
We'll be right back.
Hi guys, I'm Tom Selleck. I was the first guest on The View 20 years ago. Where's the time go? Anyway, I'm fired up, ready to go. I'm heading out. See ya.
You know, this guy was the very first man to take in The View. And these days, he's laying down the law on the hit series Blue Bloods. Please welcome our friend, the fabulous Tom Selleck.
How you doing?
I love that they played Reunited.
May I never take that for granted. Thank you.
They're playing Reunited because we've been on the air for 20 years. He's been here for 16 times. Are you a glutton for punishment or what, Tom?
Well, I am. Yeah, I gotta.
That's the first show, right?
Look
That
how
was
young I
early,
look.
man.
Oh, my God.
I gotta thank all of you for getting rid of that couch. I hated that couch.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
That was,
I know.
remember
I know.
I stuck
You know
my
what?
butt
You
in your
keep
face
it-
one day?
You're strong, but I just got a flu shot, so lay off.
That's okay. I just had surgery on my hand.
Oh.
So
good.
that's why I'm
Ricky.
hitting so hard with the
Also,
other.
you got him in a hole over here. Pull the man up. Pull him up. There you go. Now sit down. Now sit. Now sit.
Well, maybe we need the couch. I hated that couch.
After a long season, our presidential election took place Tuesday night, and
Yes, it did.
how you doing? You glad it's over?
I'm cool. About well over a decade ago, I decided to just personally and ethically that I owe my access to the media as a celebrity first to, like, in this instance, CBS and Blue Bloods and to the charities I do. And why should I piss off half the country? So it was easy this election because I didn't really support either candidate. I had some problems. So I wrote in my own candidate.
I know, you wrote my name in.
No,
I love
did
you
not.
for that.
I didn't know you were available. I wrote in Dallas Police Chief David Brown. That man showed such grace and leadership. I was just deeply touched by him. So he didn't win, though.
There are other years.
They're still counting some of the votes.
I saw your hot topics and all, and God knows you guys feel passionate about stuff, as do I. But I was so impressed with President Obama, Mrs. Clinton, and Donald Trump for showing the grace to remind us that we have more in common than we have differences. And this grace period, if we have it, I think is enormously, it's going to heat up again.
Oh, yeah.
It's just very important that we celebrate the fact that we do this peacefully. It's rough, but we do it.
And we do it better than anybody else in the world.
Tom, you are in your 7th season of your show, Blue Bloods.
I am.
You are
We're
going
still
strong.
growing.
You're going strong.
I have one of my co-stars over here is looking, when am I coming back? You know, that's a big love. I hope what I loved, which was the character-driven nature of the show. And to say it's a family drama, it is, but it isn't the Waltons. I mean, that's an Irish Catholic family in law enforcement, and they fight. And out of that, somehow the show almost every week touches people.
So good.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Thanks. And Whoopi is wait, she was a rival of my character, Frank Reagan, head of the city council. Who agree? They don't agree on anything.
That's great.
Except they may secretly like each other.
We actually have a clip here. Can you set it up for us? Or?
This is Frank is always obsessing because he's in command and he's got 35,000 lives, and Bridget, her character, Erin's always giving him advice. Well, she's now obsessing like Frank, and he's trying to help her out of it by telling her what she already knows.
All right, let's take a look. I love it.
Well,
You're always a dad.
Always.
Even when they grow up.
I got to ask you about your mustache because.
Oh, please. I feel remiss if I didn't answer a mustache
Who doesn't
question.
love it? It's so sexy. Your mustache, it is. Your mustache used to have its own Twitter account.
Yes.
There's an internet cat who looks like he has a mustache named Tom Selleck the cat. And it was part of the storyline when you played Richard on Friends. New York City Police Commissioner James O'Neill tweeted a throwback photo of himself next to one of you saying, "Hey, Tom Selleck, I think I have you beat on the stash." What do you say to such fighting words?
What do I say? His will really come in full after he goes through puberty.
Very funny. Have you ever thought of taking it off? You never thought of taking it off?
I take it off. Oh, it wasn't in that one.
Really?
I had it off for the movie In and Out, and if there was a problem, I was doing Friends at the time, and they wanted me back, and I didn't have a mustache.
It was a whole different. It was a whole
mustache.
So good.
I love it. You know.
You can't get rid of it. Keep the
He's
stash.
a pain in the ass. He's got his own agent now. He's full of himself.
Well, that's how we booked you. We talked to the stash
you
person,
gotta
and we
find out
got
if
you.
he's available. We gotta,
He's taking
you know.
10%.
Look, we love whenever you're here. You know, Blue Bloods airs Friday nights. Check your local listings. Tom Selleck, come back anytime, any day.
The dimples are.
He has
We
to.
love
I
you.
know.
And you come back.
I will. I will. We'll be right back.
Next, we're saluting an American hero with an emotional surprise he has no idea is happening live on The View. So Sunny got real about her relationship.
My husband, there was someone at work. She would bake for him all the time.
What?
Bake. And one day he came home with this pineapple upside down cake. He was like, "This is so good."
And then what happened?
I grabbed it and I threw it in the trash. I was so upset about it.
I would have eaten it. Oh, yeah.
I would have too.
We're serving up more tasty hot topics tomorrow on The View.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and in a time where we feel so divided, one thing we can all stand strongly behind is the men and women who serve in our military. Our next guest is a naval officer whose unbreakable spirit gives us all a reason to celebrate. Here's his story.
My name is Timothy Birckhead. I was in the United States Navy. When you're in the military, they make you take a PRT, physical readiness test. I could do the push-ups and sit-ups very well. For some reason, I could not do the run. I had no clue what was going on. I was diagnosed with hereditary neuropathy with liability to pressure palsies. My disease makes my legs and arms weak.
It's a disease that progresses slowly or quickly. It can go either way. Last year, this time, he was driving a car. This year, he's in a wheelchair. And there's no cure for it, and there's no medication that he's on to help him with this disease.
The hard part living with my disease is things that you want to do, you really don't have the energy to do.
Timothy, you know you're my heart. I am so proud of you because you have the courage that I have not seen in many young people of your age. And we know that as long as you do what you are doing, God is going to make everything all right. It's okay. You're my angel, and I love you.
After hearing Tim's powerful story, I had to meet him in person.
I'm going in for the hug. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
I went to Philadelphia to see the challenges he confronts every day.
We're right now in your brother's house.
Yes, yes.
You are now a primary caregiver, so you did leave teaching.
Yes, I stopped 2 years ago when Timothy's condition had gotten worse, so I had to become his full-time caregiver. That's my duty, that's my job, and I just love doing it for him. The more I can help him, the more he has quality of life.
What are your biggest struggles right now in this house?
For the steps, I'm going up steps. Raylan. Okay, that was a workout.
It's very difficult to get him out the house and in the house by myself.
Opening the shelf and getting things out is a nightmare. I mean, being 34, I had to ask people to give me snacks. So that would be a burden on my shoulders if I can roll my wheelchair up and get it myself.
Right.
So,
The feeling of independence that
Right.
you don't have right now.
exactly. Lights will guide you home.
Last March, Tim and his mother, Gloria, flew to Boston to meet with the folks from Homes for Our Troops, a nonprofit that builds mortgage-free, specially adapted homes for severely injured vets. They thought they were there for an informational meeting and had no idea their lives were about to change.
If you'll have us, we'd love to build your house.
Guys don't know what a real blessing you have been. You have given my son the opportunity to live again.
I will try to fix you.
Please give a warm welcome to Navy Petty Officer 2nd Class Timothy Birckhead, his 12-year-old daughter Tamaja, and his mom Gloria.
So, you know, people always say thank you for your service, but I think people forget that our service people need to also be nurtured through time. So I'm going to ask you, what does it mean to get a brand new house that's paid for and built just for you?
Words really can't explain, I mean, the feeling that I have receiving a house. I mean, some people, you know, go their whole life and try to get a house, and they're giving me one mortgage-free. It's like unbelievable.
Nyjah, your dad says you're the love of his life. What do you love most about you? I know you can't help it. You're amazing. But what do you love most about your dad?
He's very funny. And even with his disease, he's like always happy. I don't know why, but...
Yeah. We want to welcome the Director of Marketing from Homes for Our Troops, Christy Galanek. Christy, your organization has built 225 homes for veterans to date. How does the process work?
So Homes for Our Troops is a national nonprofit that builds specially adapted homes for severely injured veterans post 9/11. We build these homes mortgage-free and provide them to veterans deserving, just like Timothy. We also, we're one of the charities that is a top-rated military charity. Over 90 cents on every dollar goes right back into the programs to build homes for these veterans, which is pretty rare nowadays. Yeah. We also provide financial planning to all of our veterans so that we're setting them up for success long-term. What's really most important to us is their recovery in the process of rebuilding their lives. So really, we say that you don't have to wear a uniform to serve. You can donate to organizations like Homes for Our Troops. Honor your veterans. This is Veterans Day tomorrow. Just remember them. That's what it's really all about. Thank them. They've really sacrificed a lot for what we can do every day.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You know, and I know that faith is a big part of your lives, but getting to church seems to be a challenge, yes?
Yes. But the good thing is my church has a Ustream, so I can watch it on video every Sunday, and it's no problem.
You know what, in my heart, if I closed my eyes and I said, hey, maybe we brought church to you, can I get an amen?
Amen! So we want to welcome the Bible Way Baptist Church. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank each and every one of you for all that you do, because it definitely takes a community to do this. Now, Tim, we know you picked out the land, and you know that you're getting a house, but it could take a few years before it's built.
Yes.
We have some more big news. The wait is over, because Homes for Our Troops will get this project underway in less than 2 months. And there's still more. There's still more. Tim mentioned that he was saving money because the house is big and you got to fill it. You said you were saving. Well,
yes.
You can save that money too, because we reached out to our friends at the Home Depot, and they are committed to doing more for veterans through the Home Depot Foundation, and they have an exclusive brand of furniture and decor, the Home Decorators Collection. So put your money away, because you can spend it on something else. If you look right over there. Okay. Wait, what?
But I have to ask a question. Is there like a dining room in this house?
Yes.
Bedrooms, bathrooms?
Yes.
Whoopi, let's do it all.
Okay. You tell them.
Okay, we're going to be there for the build and interior in your house, and we have decided that we're also sharing updates along the way, but we're going to fill the whole house. The Home Depot's doing it all. Yeah, for more information on Homes for Our Troops, go to our website, and thanks to the Bible Way Baptist Church for coming here, the Long Island Board of Realtors, and Douglas Elliman for introducing us to Homes for Our Troops, our sponsor, the Home Depot, and a true hero, Timothy Birckhead.
Hey, this This is just to remind you, keep everything in perspective. We're so glad you came. We want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view and remember what's important in life.